Morning.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Yeah,
Hola.
for tonight. Little late, I know. So
4 hour
just
fish.
yeah. All right, let's see here. We'll just kind of run through things, kind of see where things are, and see what we need to be looking at to make some moves. So I'm gonna do a quick share screen real quick. All right, let's move into BTC. So, daily time frame, we're kind of above my levels that I was looking for, which is kind of where BTC is trying to pretend move back above the trend. I'm still seeing a solid downtrend of sell action here on BTC. Not too much here on a daily, weekly. Picked up pretty nicely, got above trend. I like that. Um, Overall, it kind of looks like we're kind of broke trend here. Again, I was looking to maintain this kind of really steep, really ridiculous uptrend, and we're kind of breaking into that a little bit. Which, if that ends up happening, I think we're gonna kind of roll over here. Probably play the lows here for a bit. So the liquidity in the higher zone, move to the lower zone. Really, I'm looking for BTC to kind of recoup that 19K and show it wants to hold there. That would be a good confirmation for the inverse head and shoulders. If I can see that, I'll be looking for, BTC potentially be temporarily bottomed, if not bottomed. So I'll be looking to accumulate in here around 19 if it can get to there. If it shows strength, right? If it shows that it wants to hold here, what it will do to do that is it will kind of trend like it did over here on the left side, right? Where it kind of made out that previous side. and kind of came down, bounced back up, came down, rolled over, right? Came up, and I would expect it to kind of roll into this move. So it would be a multi-week move, I would say. I don't really say it takes months to get out of that zone as much. A couple months over here, a couple months over here. A lot of liquidity came up. Really, man, like on the monthly, it looks like a topping pattern potentially. How's it going, Norm? So like this one's a hard one to call to be honest with you guys. Like, look at the solid rejection in the monthly. We're just like holding like steadily right into it, right? Um, body candles are just too clean, holding that price action right there in that zone. So like if we can't really come through the zone with force, and again, I looked for the wicks to match and they came up perfectly, right? And really when you get a perfect touch move like this, both on head and shoulders and inverse head and shoulders, right? When you get a perfect rejection in the same zone or a perfect bounce in the same zone on the bottom, you ideally really want to watch those, right? Because those can very easily become a head and shoulders. I mean, these were perfect touches of the high, which really kind of made me kind of argue the thesis for a possible inverse head and shoulders here because there's not a regular head and shoulders going on here. So it would have to be an inverse the way price action is moved in the zone, right? Price came down, hit the low, came back down on the lower side and popped back up. And really, it really makes me want to take the argument of a inverse head and shoulders. And if price action hits that 19K from here and holds steadily here, this could be a big move for Bitcoin if that ends up rolling out of there. And I'll be looking to take advantage of that if that happens. So something I want you guys to really pay attention to. And if Bitcoin moves, remember the whole market moves. So it's a good time to be taking positions if that ends up happening. Need the extra days. Yeah, I mean, bulls can argue whatever they want. Liquidity is the way it moves the way it moves, right? At the end of the day, that's really just the facts of this whole thing. And that's why like I'm not really trying to debate them because there's always some kind of BS argument on their side. I won't say all, but a good chunk of them always, they come up with these weird theses like of like why price will move the way it does and everything. Like it just doesn't make any logical sense in the current, environment as far as money goes. So,
Just
but
being sarcastic, senor.
what's up?
Just being sarcastic, just my humor.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, yeah. Bulls, they're going to consistently counter though. I've been getting consistently countered on Twitter and so oh, it's got to go to 30K. It's like, dude, if everybody's screaming 30K, guess which direction it's going? Not 30K. Tell you that. So, and that's really what people got to understand at the end of the day is when you get a bias that's based on price and not a bias that's based on momentum and chart patterns and where liquidity is, then you're probably on the wrong side of the trade, right? And really, I think that a washout move here, aka move down to 19, and a hold would be very bullish. Whereas a lot of people would see it as a break in structure, but the real BMS is this low, this 19K, right? If if we break that 19, a lot of people would see the break here because there's no structure beyond that, right? And they would say, okay, we're going all the way down to fill the fair value gap here. But there's no necessity to. The liquidity ran out and the liquidity ran in. The shakeout would occur if they went back into the same liquidity consolidation zone, held it for a little while, and then pretended like they were going to roll over and then reversed right into that inverse head and shoulders. And so that would be my bullish thesis. I'm really watching this. I really like this price action touch. I really like that, guys. Like you got to pay attention to certain things in the chart, and this is one of my favorites when you get a double rejection, right? And you've had that price action move into the zone, drop down, create the lower low, and then looks like it wants to come back down again. And if that happens again, that's multiple retests of the same liquidity in the same zone, this center zone, this point of control. And if it holds, this will be a strong signal for upside. I really want to point that out to you guys. Like again, my thesis has always been we go lower, but I won't argue with price action, right? If this plays the way I think it will, like I'll be playing this move because this will be a good move for liquidity. So again, keep an eye on this zone. Not trying to be overly bullish or anything like that. Not trying to be overly bearish. Again, I'm just following the way liquidity is moving. I don't like either kind of in this zone right here specifically how, and this is something, remember, we were talking about this here. We were talking about this here on this big blue candle, right? And I'm getting confirmation. What am I getting confirmation of over here on the right? Those of you guys who typically show up and pay attention to one of my confirmations. What am I getting confirmation of right here?
Distribution.
A distribution zone, exactly. And I'm really liking it, right? Because a distribution zone up here means more than likely we will break structure, right? And breaking structure will bring us down to this 19K zone. It's just everybody will miss the 19K if we hold there. And the reason that they'll miss it is because they're just looking at structure here and they'll be expecting liquidity to grab everything here. But if this becomes an inverse head and shoulders, liquidity is not going to come back into the zone, at least not for now, right? And that means liquidity will stop here, fake everybody out, hold here, and then people are like, oh, it's going to dump further. And they're going to wait for 15K, right? And then price is going to reverse, come up really hard. And that doesn't mean at the end of the day either that this downtrend's done. It's just, it's clearly an inverse head and shoulders on the weekly, not the monthly or anything like that. So it would be a long-term trend move. So basically price would come down, roll back up, big head and shoulders, right? Big inverse head and shoulders. And that's why inverse head and shoulders works. Why? Because you get a massive accumulation zone. And you're probably like, what do you mean? Well, look here. This is the left side of the circle, right? And the lower part of the circle and the higher part of the circle on the right. See that? So you got one big accumulation zone that moves out and has potential to break this area right here. This big move right here, this big shift in liquidity. And if they break back above this, that could confirm a bottom, right? And remember, what I've always told you is you always get multiple entries at a low, multiple entries for price to get in before price actually shifts out. So I want people to really be watching this. And if this ends up playing out like this will be the opportunity to enter if that's what you're looking for. We've had plenty of time to accumulate cash. We've been talking about cash, right? And really, I think like if this opportunity arises, I think people should take the positions to call this position if it holds here. Again, if Bitcoin shoots straight through here, do you think that I'm still going to be looking for that right shoulder? More than likely not.
I don't know.
Right? If it breaks 19K, I'll more than likely not be looking for that. Why? Because it invalidates my move. But my bullish thesis here, this is a perfect rejection. I like it. Right? I really, really like it. So we catch this move back down. We hit this 19K. We roll back up. We start rolling back up. You better be on the ride because it's gonna shift out of this 25.2 zone. And it's going to come up. And the next resistance is going to be up here around this 28, 29K, right? We hit this 28, 29K. This is where you really got to pay attention because Bitcoin does have potential to break this zone and deflect, right? It also has good potential to break out of the zone and consolidate high. But you don't want to get into the breakout trade. Okay, I've been telling you guys this over and over and over again. Don't take the breakout. Take the rejection. That means when liquidity shifts up to here, get out of your trade, right? And that's not financial advice. That's trading advice. So it's me telling you guys, hey, if you're paper trading, wink, wink, this is where you take profit, period. Flat out, period. I don't care if you think you can go higher. I don't care if people say 100K, 30K, 50K, 100, $1 million, whatever. Don't get in that bullshit. Okay, it's all BS at the end of the day. Take your liquidity when it gets there. Wait for price action to prove itself. What will be proof of the move? Proof of the move will be where you'll start to see that rejection, right? You'll start to see that. You'll start to see Bitcoin start to invalidate this move up here. And I'm going to 0, A, B, and C starts violating the move to the downside. And if it starts violating the move to the downside, we'll see lower lows, right? If it rejects here and starts violating, we'll see lower lows. If it breaks through the zone, guess what? You don't have to hop on the ride. You can literally let it break through the zone. When it comes back to find support, you can get on. It's always going to retest, right? That breakout area, these breakout areas are very key pivotal areas of liquidity that the market maker typically does not like to leave behind. So they will come up, they will break out, and then they will come back to be able to accumulate more so they can continue to sell. That's what this is about at the end of the day. Price action is about, I need liquidity, I build price. I need assets, I bring price back, right? The market maker also has to do what we do. And what is that? That means they have to make liquidity, right? Take profit, shove price back down, buy cheaper, so they can continue to keep distributing to you. All an uptrend is at the end of the day is the market maker distributing to you. The market maker is building a cash position all the way to the upside, right? And then the market maker is building an asset position all the way to the downside. That's how this game is played. We're building the opposite typically, right? We're typically building assets to the upside and cash to the downside. That's backwards. That's literally backwards. Why is it backwards? Are you gaining money when you're buying or when you're selling to the downside? No, you're not. And you're probably like, well, I'm trying to accumulate more Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin denominated in? I know some of you are going to say sats. What currency buys Bitcoin?
Dollars.
Dollars, pesos, pounds. That is what Bitcoin is denominated in, regardless of whether you wanted to admit it or not. That's what every stock is denominated in. That's what gold is denominated in. How many dollars for how much ounces of gold? How many dollars for how many stocks of Tesla? How many dollars for how many pieces of Bitcoin I can get? You need to be building asset positions at the low and cash positions at the high. That's how you should be playing this game. You should be playing it like a market maker, not building asset positions at the high and cash positions at the low, aka selling local lows and stuff like that. It's not the move. So again, this is kind of the move I'm looking for Bitcoin. We could be looking at a heavy rejection over here. Once that plays out, if Bitcoin invalidates here, breaks my 19K, we're going deeper. I have no doubt we're going deeper if it breaks my 19K. But the way this thing rejected is just too good. I'm telling you. Like you don't catch many perfect rejections in the same price action zone like this. You just don't. It is key and pivotal to me to look for that inverse head and shoulders here. It really is. If price stays above 19K or higher, and consolidates wherever, I'm going to expect this thing to roll into another shoulder. And it's going to push back up and it's going to push hard. Now, this isn't me trying to FOMO you guys into the market because we haven't at all confirmed that, right? If Bitcoin currently does something like this, here, let me show you another move. So we have these highs right here, right? Let's say Bitcoin swings back up. Well, I'm just going to expect it to come back down. There's no momentum to push price up here. The only way you're getting price to push now is you got to come back down to create the momentum to push back up. If Bitcoin just goes like this tomorrow, okay, it went like that. I'm not excited. Doesn't matter. Why? Because Bitcoin's going to come right back to where it came out, broke out of. Good price action is good structure. If you don't have good structure, then your price action is more than likely false. And if your price action is false, you're more than likely going to come back to the previous zones that you broke out of. Go ahead, Erica.
Oh, I'm sorry, it accidentally unmuted. I didn't
Yeah.
mean to.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you had a question. But yeah. So that's basically what I'm looking for Bitcoin. Nothing too crazy, guys. Like I said, we had the falling wedge here. Really, in reality, if we take this chart, we just clear all this, we go like this. I'll show you real fast why I don't think Bitcoin will break higher from here and it'll break lower before it breaks higher. We have a rising wedge going on here, guys. Rising wedge, right? That's what's going on right now with Bitcoin. So whenever you have a rising wedge, this is a breakdown pattern. This is not a breakout pattern. We had very similar moves over here. And that broke down. And then we had very similar moves over here. So this was something I kind of looked at on the weekly and on the daily over here when I was showing people. It's literally the same move. They build to break down, right? And they've built, and you can kind of see they're coiling here, right? They're really coiling price. So coiling price until they break, this thing's going to continue to trend up. But their upside is here, right? There's no upside to like just go because we're in an incline wedge. An incline wedge is a breakdown pattern. You guys can look it up. Anybody who's new. So really, I'm only seeing price coming up to pressure the same highs. And again, if we do pressure up again, I was looking at this as 1, 2, 3, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's 1 here, 2 here, and this is the third one, right? But this pattern will break down. Like I have really good trade positions that I've made on tons of these rising wedges. They always play out typically for me. Is it 100% of the time? No, it's not. It's never 100% of the time. But I see these work out way more often than I see them not work out. So expectations are this will be a breakdown pattern. And really, again, I'm looking for price to maintain and stabilize above 19K. That's my key position I'm taking. And if I can catch that, I'll be looking for that inverse head and shoulders to the upside, which will be good, right? It'll be a good volatile market. Basically, just look at the market as volatile right now. It's going to have volatility. It's going to have price action movement. Is it still negative? Is it still bearish? Yes, 100% it is. As long as we remain below 30K BTC, it will be bearish, period. This whole zone below 30K is bearish, which means price can continue to trend down. It can make lower lows, so on and so forth, until we get above that zone, in my eyes. Binance Coin called the top many times. Top. Ethereum's done the same thing. ADA has just been kind of hovering this upper zone. It really likes the zone for consolidation. I'm expecting ADA to come back and grab that liquidity. ADA basically bounced in the middle of the air, right? There's nothing over here for price action that ADA should have bounced where it bounced at. It basically went lower than the previous low here, right? So when you get moves like that, you're expecting them to come for all the liquidity, which means the next liquidity zone, which is all the way down here, around the 16 to 15 cent zone. But these are like bottoms, right? So when price gets into these zones, it won't remain here for long, probably weeks, months, so on and so forth, but not too long. Well, when I say months, I mean like a month or two. And then I think it would slowly roll out of this pretty quickly once that happened. Disney, nothing too exciting, just kind of really soaking that liquidity zone from all the way over here since 15, 16. I don't think Disney's a good buy at all, guys. I'll just be real. I think that's a very stagnant company that's not producing much, and I think they hit their limit as far as creativity. Silvergate, again, I told you guys this thing would continue to break down. That's exactly what it's doing. Still breaking down. Solana, again, hit the high, right here. It's very obvious where the high was. Price came up, hit the high, and then boom. Really, I'm thinking it's going to turn into a distribution. Solana might go deep. All right. I'm going to watch this one. This is one that I'm not really interested in buying at Solana either, too, guys. Like I've been looking at the activity on the chain and stuff like that. It's not a lot of real developers on there and stuff like that. It's more like NFT projects and TVL being moved through NFTs than it is anything. When you're looking like at developers and stuff like that, they're still mainly going to Ethereum. That's where I'm seeing a lot of devs go to. So like when you see things like that, you got to kind of question at the end of the day, does Solana continue to hold the market share it does, or does it slowly bleed? So I'm just not really interested in the project itself at this point, at least not right now.
And they had another service interruption, another kind of bug where everything stopped.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I did see that. It's pretty crazy that people still operate on there. I think personally Solana is a VC coin that's getting slowly bled by and when I say slowly bled, I mean they're using retail as, you know, the bleeding, and then retail just keeps on coming back in and pricking their fingers over and over and over again until they run out of blood. Google looks pretty floored on the stochastic, but I think like Google has to hit this 30 before I'm really looking at it. If you look at Google this looks bad. I'll be real with you. Look at this. Like that looks really bad for Google. You got a nice uptrend into this just downtrending ridiculous market. I don't know. I don't know. Everything right now looks really questionable to me. And that's really your long-term trend here, right? So it's like, does Google come back down here? Does Google hit this lower zone? $70 to like $60 before it actually floors? You know, will that bring it down to that 30? But like I don't like the momentum showing up and the strength just showing down, right? That's telling you that people's interest in Google is just not there. This has been a slow bleed kind of or a bearish momentum here kind of going on. Like it had this big ramp up, but it's like a hump in the middle of what is already existing, right? This floor. Now, does that mean it can't reverse from here? 100% it could. It could definitely reverse again. But again, I think it's just going to be, something like that in the longer term, which means Google might see some big upside and then come back down deeper. So, yeah, I don't know. These charts are really kind of looking me in the face and making me even question the economy as a whole. Because like I'm seeing this pretty consistently for a lot of charts is like this downtrend versus the uptrend that they ran. If you look at Shop's another one of those. Look, this massive just loss of interest in Shop right there, right? And it's lost a lot of its interest as it's just been ramping and ramping and ramping, and now it's dropped so hard, and now it's bouncing. And really, I think that they will see that 30 sooner than later, right? And that 30, again, this is where I would start looking on the monthly. Guys, like these 30s signify massive bounces, right? Like we hit the 30 one other time over here in 09, and that's pretty much signaled the bottom of the market for Shop. And then Shop just ran from there. I mean, let's look at the percentage from there. Yeah, Shop did 4,356 from there percent from that move of the 30. So I would be looking to take positions on Shop at the 30. 100% would be looking for that. And really, I think that there's good potential that Shop might see new lows when that happens, right? I'm really looking for this liquidity down here around 206, 205. I want to see them recapture that. If they can recapture that, hit the 30, that's a perfect lineup for me for a position on Shop, especially a call position. If you look at Tesla, and this is why I find it laughable when people sit there and talk about Tesla, like, oh, yeah, look, Tesla going to 205, Tesla going to this and that. I'm going to show you guys some stuff on the chart with that one too. Look at the monthly here on Veracity, something we talked about, right? Really, they're kind of holding this upper liquidity zone, but I think this is the premium price zone. I think they do come back and see these lows again. on Veracity if you are interested in this coin. Not too much for me, but like I kind of watch it intraday, but not really interested right at the moment. Yeah, the 30 on the RSI. Exactly. Yep. So when I say the 30, I'm talking about 30 on the RSI, guys. Again, we had a massive bounce up here on the 30 on Rumble, a little bit above the 30. I think it hit 32.48. And really, to me, this is a hard rejection on the 50, right? On the RSI again. So really, I could see Rumble kind of either hovering this high and trying not to go this low again, or they really come back down to this 30 and they will probably form lower lows if that happens. Just FYI. Oh, let's see. We did discuss that. Yep. We talked about shop from a bigger perspective. Oh yeah, this one's shop right here. So shop here. Hit the 30 a couple times, bounced. You can see right here, bounced really hard, came up at these highs. And then what was I looking at before? Okay, my bad. I was talking about shop. This is Adobe. Sorry, guys. This is Adobe. Yeah, so Adobe, I would like to see recaptured on here. So shop had a big bounce from its 30. Looks like it wants to come back down, really, and that could be another consolidation low. Really, I think people just need to wait right now with a lot of their positions for things to kind of roll back down. I really think things are going to roll back down and form same lows, especially in the stock market, if not deeper lows. So really be watching the RSI against price action, I think, in the coming days. Over the next 12 months, 16 months, all these. Saying they're 90%, 100% chance of recession. Yeah, so I brought up something earlier today, and this is something I want you guys to also keep in mind. Yasmin is so here, let me pull that up real quick. Give me just a second. So I brought this up earlier today, and this is something you guys should really take a look at. Let me see. Press this real quick. And kind of keep it in mind. Keep it in the back of your head. I want you guys to understand there's a difference between a strong consumer and a dovish consumer. And I think the consumer right now, and this is always the bull thesis / argument, and this is what's driving the FOMOs, them just making up things in their head as they go, is that the consumer is strong. If the consumer is strong, why is credit card debt right now hitting all-time highs? Can anybody?
Yeah, basically nobody could stop spending, so they're just running up their credit cards right now.
Mm-hmm. And this, I want you guys to understand, this is not me saying that these people are broke. This is not me saying that the economy doesn't have some strength. That's not me saying that at all, because I want to be as unbiased as possible. This is me saying that if something trickles along or something gets said bad by the Fed or a world event happens, this whole thing collapses. Do you guys understand what I mean by that? So basically, kind of what I mean by that is that the consumer is actually way, way, way over leveraged. That's what I mean by that. And when you get leverage times 1,000 going on your regular consumer / retail, it doesn't take much to wreck them financially. And if they get wrecked financially, guess what happens to those billions of dollars that comes in every day buying stocks and crypto and everything else? It stops. Because most people are wrecked financially. So I won't argue the trend is up. I won't argue the economy looks strong, but I will argue there's cracks in that whole thesis. And I don't think the economists are wrong. I think they're just way, way ahead of everybody else right now, as far as timeline. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I just and I bring this up because I want you guys to be really cautious about over leveraging yourselves, right? This is something I try to preach regularly to you guys, is just don't put yourself in a financial position that'll make you where you have to sell the positions you have because you're adding too much because you're afraid of missing out. You shouldn't change your investment habits based on feelings. You should always keep your investment habits the same. Why? Anybody?
Trying to think of the right answer for this.
There's a lot of them. What's a pro to keeping your investment habits the same?
You want FOMO?
You want FOMO. What's another one?
You
You
kind of
don't
know
get emotionally
the
attached to 'em.
reward.
You don't get emotionally attached. Yep, that's another one. You got a risk to reward. There's a lot of reasons to not change your investing habits. One of the main ones is because when you're investing, you should never be investing all the extra money you have. You should be investing a portion of the extra money you have. And why? Why would you want to invest only a portion?
Just in case it drops some more. You don't know what direction the market's going. So
But that's a good thesis. In case it drops some more. Yep. That would change your investment strategy unless your investment strategy was to have money on the side to buy dips if it got deeper. Then that would continue your investment strategy, right? Another reason would be to what happens if your tire blows out and you've invested all your extra allocation of cash, right? What happens if you lose your job tomorrow? Do you have enough money to pay your rent for the next couple of months while you live on unemployment, which won't afford your rent, by the way, until you can find another job? Think about it. And you'll understand what I mean, right? So when you think about those things and you understand that your average person is going DGen 9,000 on credit cards, like you got to really think, how well positioned is the economy when everybody's saying up only and trillions of dollars are going to flow in, yet we're at all-time high in credit card debt?
Well, the banks are kind of egging it on because I'm getting like 2, 3, card offers a day.
I mean, of course. Why wouldn't they? This is the best environment to entice people into credit card debt, is it not?
Point.
While there's fear, right? While there's potential to lose your job.
that's
Well,
messed up because they're just gonna have us stuck for like the next 5 years. or more.
100% it is. But if you think banks aren't predatory, I don't know what to tell you, because they are 100% predatory. I'll tell you that. They are just as bad as anybody else.
I just saw another thing too, that 9% of people are behind on their auto loans, and like
Mhm.
severely behind.
Yeah, months.
So that one's now starting to trickle. Yep.
Months behind on auto loans. When those cars start getting repo, that's gonna trickle back in the economy. So there's a lot of red flags, aka a lot of cracks in the bull's thesis. And we saw it in PPI, we saw it in CPI, we saw it in the jobs report, we saw it in wages. So, like, while the bullish thesis is being fed to the people, I can tell you this: everything else is telling me the opposite. Even where we sit in price. And does that mean that I can't be optimistic? Sure, I can be optimistic. 100% I can be optimistic. And I already told you my optimistic viewpoint of Bitcoin. If I see that inverse head and shoulders, hey, I'm pretty optimistic if price starts holding the 19K, right? Does it mean I think it'll sustain forever? No. I think that eventually this thing will trickle in. It's just a matter of when. And this is the part that people always, they always say, oh, well, you're wrong. You were this or you were that. These things don't have to play out in the next month or two. They don't have to play out in the next 3-4 months. They don't have to play out in the next 6 months. They can play out at the end of the year, right? They can play out going into 2024 and just drop the market like a rock, just like COVID did. So keep that in mind when you guys are looking at these things and you're going and you're feeding into the bullish thesis. Again, I'm not saying don't be bullish. I'm just saying be cautious, right? Be cautious. If you want to be bullish, I completely support that. Again, what do you need to be bullish right now? You need a game plan. You need a strategy. If you haven't got an investment strategy, then you are going to make bad moves 100%. It's not even an investment strategy. Oh, don't invest in Doge. Don't invest in degen stuff. Don't invest in shitcoins. It's not that at all. It's allocating your current amount of liquidity that you have available to you in a proper way. Some to savings, some to assets, and then maybe some to like maintaining things. Maybe you got to do an oil change in your car, new tires. You don't want to let that stuff start to fall behind, right? Credit cards, you got to keep them up to date. Pay a little bit extra into your credit cards. If let's say your payment's $150. Okay, pay $200. You don't have to allocate all your money to assets. I'm telling you guys to play this smart. Because at the end of the day, if this thing does turn over, you'll be the people that'll be doing well. If it doesn't turn over, you'll still be in a good position. You'll have less debt. You'll still have your allocations and assets, and you'll have some cash to be able to afford whatever you need. And maybe you don't even need that cash at that point, right? Maybe things turn out great. If they turn out great, guess what? You can allocate some of that extra cash to more assets. That's all it is at the end of the day. Go ahead, Erica.
I was just gonna say, maybe one day you can show that pyramid again.
Yeah,
because that was real good for allocating your funds.
Yeah, we can definitely discuss that. I know people, they talk a lot of bad stuff about stocks, but I really think if you're looking for a stable portfolio, you need some. 100% think you need some. And it could even be risky stocks and they'll still be more stable than crypto.
That's for sure.
Just keep that in mind. You can call that boomer mentality, whatever you want. I'm telling you guys, like, things don't always play out the way you think they will. They just don't. I've had things blow up in my face, and I posted that the other day. I told you guys, like, my first couple trades, like I lost 7,000 in one trade, and now I lost 22,000 on another one. Right? Not directly one after the other, but it's just me being stupid. What did I do with the 22? I chased. Right? I chased the move and kept on adding allocation until I ended up in a position where I got margin called. And that was 22 down the drain. 7 was me trying to leverage up on Bitcoin, trying to take some long positions, even though the market wasn't looking great, at the highs. And I got wrecked doing that a couple times. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't make some great allocations. I made some great trades, and I probably made more than my money back. But I want to let people know that, hey, anybody can lose in this game. Anybody. It's just a matter of being able to get back on your feet and get your positions back and keep your portfolio stable. And if taking positions like margins and puts and calls and shorts and longs isn't your game, that's okay. Spots. Take spot positions. You can trade those. And as long as you don't trade in the red and you trade in the green, guess what? You're making more money. So you can buy more assets. That's all it is at the end of the day. I think, Erica, you did a lot of that great when we were in FS and stuff like that. And you were trading just assets. You weren't even bothering with leverage. You're just buying and selling as things were kind of moving along and you were making money.
Yep. I didn't even know how to leverage trade. And now that I do know how to leverage trade, I like doing Forex for leverage and then just spot trading for crypto.
Yeah. Spot's a great way to start trading. You guys should not be trying to start trading in the leverage game. You leverage after you get some good experience in spot trading. Once you start getting W's in the spot, here's the thing. If you want to test if you can be a good leverage trader, test it on spot. Buy at the lowest possible point you think the price will go. Sell at the highest possible price, aka resistance, that you think price will go. And if you do those things and you do them properly, you set your position low and you set your limit buy and you set your limit sell. Once you take your profit, right? Once you take your profit, look inside of that price zone and see if price moved against you after you took your position. And then look and see how much it went against you. And if it didn't go against you, you got a great entry. If you can do that a solid 10, 20 times, they don't have to be in a row. If you can do that a solid 10, 20 times, you could leverage trade. That is the safest way you can take a position to understand if you truly know how to trade before you even touch leverage. Trying to touch leverage prior to that, you are going to get wrecked. 100%.
That's what I'm teaching my 15-year-old daughter to do right now. Because she was like doing something in Roblox and she was like buying and selling assets and she was buying low and selling high. And I was like, shoot. So I like sent her some Bitcoin and I told her to just do the same thing. So she's 15. She's 15 and that's what she's doing. She just kind of started this week, but like, yeah.
Hey, I'm telling you, look, if you teach your kids, it'll be something that they could take with them for life. They'll understand assets a lot better. I'll tell you guys, I got a daughter. Definitely plan on teaching her this stuff. Do I think she's interested in it? No, but I'm going to make her interested because I want her to be financially stable, right? You're not always going to be there for them. That's for certain. Yeah. So again, just keep that in mind. Make sure, look, out the gate, guys, just create that strategy. Okay. This much to cash, this much to assets. And when I say assets, I don't mean just crypto. Like look, let's say you're all in on crypto. You're like, I'm full bull crypto, screw stocks. Then just allocate 10% to stocks. That's all I'm saying. Like just 10%, right? I guarantee it will stabilize your positions in the long run, especially if you have a long-term mindset. All right, Shopify, like I said, local low, local high. 2 year, bouncing off that 4.8, man. I just wanted to touch the 5 so I can get my goal here. Let's see, moving into S&P. We were kind of talking about this, and I posted this the other day, and I'm being dead serious. Look, if any of you guys are in here bullish and you're not willing to buy SPY here, but you're telling me how SPY is going to go $7,000 or $5,000 or $4,600, I can't help you. Because if you're bullish, this is your low. This is your low. But I'm not bullish on this. I think this thing will break down. Why? Because we basically got less momentum here, right? That's why we weren't able to reach the top of the channel. But again, you got a strong uptrend. You got a channel going on here. It's staying within the channel. If you are bullish here, this is your low. If price breaks here, this thing's going deep. It will form a lower low, I think, if price goes right back into the zone again. Because it'll be right back under the bear trend. This will be very bad. Very, very bad. S&P. U.S. oil. Again, no break in structure here. None. Zero. Still holding the high here. And again, I think this is going to roll out, right? I think it's going to roll out. 10-year. Oh, man, I wish I didn't do all this stuff when I'm doing these things to show you guys. Sorry about the mess. I'm just kind of clean this up a little bit.
You went full John Madden on that.
Yeah, we were just chatting and I was just like scribbling everywhere. Showing people different directions though. All right, so to me, it kind of looks like consolidation high. I do like the break on the 10-year here. The fact that it broke higher than the previous two candles. So there is good potential they come back up to at least retest the high here on the 10-year. Doesn't mean a breakout, right? Does not mean a breakout. They need to really push through a force to get this breakout, then get a close above 414. They'll probably continue up. But for now, it looks bullish. But again, your stop here is like 414. So I don't know. There's good potential that they roll up, in my perspective, and roll back and catch this previous low. Everybody thinks it's over. They're like, oh, it broke structure, yada, yada, sitting on top of liquidity. A lot of it, right? A lot of support here. And then rolls back out. So I would be highly cautious. And again, you don't want bonds to be moving up, guys. You want bonds to be rolling over. Because if bonds continue to move up, they're going to entice more and more and more buyers, which means a strong dollar, strong bond, and assets will get weaker and weaker and weaker the more and more that happens. We want bonds to stop going up. They either consolidate here and stay here for a long period of time. That's okay. The 2 years does not look like it wants to do that. 2 year looks very bullish. And then this thing kind of consolidates and maybe rolls over later. But eventually, at these rates will entice people to come into bonds. And you're going to see start to see a move, because the bond market basically is just signaling when rates are really, really, percentage rates are really high on bonds. It's signaling that, hey, maybe the market's way over leveraged at current price zones, right? And that's the way I always take bonds. I'm like, okay, at what point in the chart does the market switch its thesis from bullish to bearish on assets, and then bearish to bullish on bonds? And I think like these upper zones here for bonds is a really good place to be looking bullish bond, bearish asset. So we'll continue to monitor this, but this is kind of what I look for, especially in the 2 year. I think that's a really strong one. YFDI can't make this up. Came up, hit, reject. Hit what? Previous stair step liquidity zone. Boom, boom, boom. Now it's got to break through. This is looking really good, though. If YFDI continues to hold these zones, YFDI could very easily start working its way up in liquidity. I'm going to watch this one, actually. I'm definitely watch that one. Interested in that price action. Won against dollar. Won fell over hard. Okay. So again, their buying power on the won is going down. This is why like bullish China, yada, yada, stimmy, yada, yada. They are devaluing their currency. And the more they devalue their currency, the less that, those stimmies are going to matter. That's what we got to keep in mind too. They are hard devaluing their currency against the dollar. We did it first, so our dollar's recovering, and now they're doing it late, and so their won is getting destroyed. And really, this could be, the consolidation high before the real breakdown of the won. I think the won comes much lower, in the longer term, 2023, 2024. I definitely think the won's going to break down against the dollar. Moving into XRP, nothing. That's all I can really say. No price action. Consolidation area. It's been consolidating here for months and months and months and months, and just nothing is going on here. Like there's no. When I say nothing, guys, I want you guys to understand. Like I mean specifically, like there's no price action, right? There's no volatility, so there's nothing to trade. So if there's nothing to trade and you can't get traders interested in it, you can't really drive price action on a coin that's not looking tradable. ETH BTC, again, we've talked about this many times, just rolling straight across. They're exchanging dominance, basically. They're kind of keeping up with each other. I think this is a breakdown here soon. I can't see a melt up for B. I mean, don't get me wrong. I could be wrong here, right? Maybe ETH breaks out against Bitcoin. Maybe it does. Do I think that's the case? No, not personally. I think it's going to break down to it, but maybe it breaks out. Maybe we'll see. Beyond Meats. Yeah, not looking too great. I'd like to see him touch that 30. Nothing really to see here. I mean, I kind of looked at this as the accumulation, wouldn't buy here, always buy your lows. But we'll kind of continue to monitor this. I don't think it's a buy yet. I think it's just kind of hang out and wait. There's good potential that they could reverse back up from here. Let me see the weekly. Yep, you got a bullish div right here, which already looks like it's starting to play out. So there's a good chance they might come back up for this half circle, the $38, and then probably roll back into it again and continue to consolidate the slower zone right here. They've basically fallen below support, and now they're just kind of consolidating out here at the lows. DOT had a nice pump, popping back up again. I think it's trying to hold liquidity up here in the $6 zone. We'll see how this plays out. Really, I think it's going to roll back down and hit the top of this trend. So a lot of these might do that. This has been in a solid channel downtrend for a while, broke out of it, and really it could just roll back down into it, on top of it again, which is still bringing it to lower lows at the end of the day. So it's something to keep an eye on. I would say don't ignore DOT specifically. This is a product I'm interested in accumulating at some point. I'm still kind of watching. I did get a little bit down here, right? And that was just based off previous price action over here. I was expecting them to come all the way down here, but they may not do that. So they may just end up kind of coming a little bit lower and consolidating there, but we'll see how that plays out. KSM had a massive, beautiful move. Nice pump here, $49 all the way down for 20, 2x position, 2x plus, and now they're kind of falling back below support here. And really, if Bitcoin is not able to run here and rolls over, kind of like I think it will, moving lower, then we'll see KSM kind of come down too. Neo, look at that, beautiful support move right here. So we'll see what happens with Neo. If Neo can flush, where do I think that flush zone is? Again, this was a solid hold zone. If Neo can flush, it's going to move all the way down here to this liquidity at 419. I think this will be the bottom for Neo right here. Personally, I think this will be the bottom for Neo. So definitely something to keep an eye on if it can get here. Again, I call this as a consolidation zone / buying area, but if it can get here, that would be a buy, a real buy. I've been nibbling, but like I will come in pretty decently if it moves down into this zone. I'm bullish on most EV companies other than Tesla. And I say that lightly. And I'm only saying that because Tesla's not where I'd like it to be price-wise. I think it's overvalued. And when you look at earnings to shares and stuff like that, like what they're earning compared to what their prices are of their stock, I think they're way overvalued, personally. A lot of people try to make up bullshit to try and say, oh, well, this is the reason why, or that's the reason why, or, well, if you look at the money on the books and this and that, it's like, no, there is an average earnings per share for every single company. These are things that I look at. And Tesla isn't even close to that. Yeah, Rivian's everywhere, guys. I don't know if you guys have seen the Amazon vans, man, but that's something I'm watching. AMD, I think AMD is on the brink of breaking down. I really do. Sitting underneath the 50, continuously trying to break through, just not able to do it. And really, the more they sit here and try to break through, the more and more resistant this 50 becomes, and really just kind of rolls down at some point and rolls deeper here too, right? Again, I really like to see that $35 zone for AMD if I was interested in that. And I would take positions there, right? And at 35, AMD is like a $40, $50 Tesla to me. Hex. Nice moves up. Again, I discussed this with you guys. Macro high, right? Not the place to buy. Not the place to buy. Even if it can break out, it's not the place to buy. Tesla. Again, and it's funny because you got a Green Day here, right? So everybody's like, I'm watching everybody on Twitter. Like I went in a couple spaces. I'm like, you guys see the gap at 140? And they just like ignore me. It's like people that like that a lot of I wouldn't say just in Tesla. Like guys, I like Tesla too, but you can't put yourself in a delusional mind state to think that price can't come back. Like especially with something that literally just ran down and ran right back up again. Like Tesla, tell me Tesla doesn't move like Bitcoin. Look at this. Look, there's your move down. There's your move up. There's your move down. There's your move up. And if I think Bitcoin's going to go deeper, I think Tesla's going to go deeper. It's really weird how they correlate, but I'm definitely seeing the writing on the walls on both of these. KNC. Again, I kind of showed you guys this. It's been waving right to the downside. It hits these highs, lower high, and I think it's going to flush deeper. Peso to dollar. Hey, just like we said, look, already breaking towards it. Again, I think they're coming up. They're going to hit this high, and that's where they're going to reject. BBBY. I discussed this with you guys. Like this would be the low. This from here to here is the low of BBBY. That's it. And I think it's going to see a nice pump somewhere, right? So definitely something to keep an eye on. You even have like a bullish div going on here. So keep that in mind also. Looks like it might have broken it a little bit here. So something to keep an eye on. But we're definitely still in an uptrend to downtrend move here, even though it broke here. So keep an eye on this one. It's definitely something to watch. Rivian, hey, I think this is turning into an accumulation zone. Something to really keep an eye on right here for Rivian. Again, the lows are 15. It's really close to that price action. I told you guys over here at 16, 17, this thing's a buy. So really, I think this is the place to be looking to accumulate. And Rivian tends to do these little moves. And then it goes on these little nice uptrends, right? All the way up to $41 from hitting a low of 20. So that's a 2x position. Drop down. It's got the nice little uptick, just like right here. And it could very easily try and ramp back up, hit these previous highs around like $29, probably. That's what I would think as far as resistance goes, because that kind of matches up between right between here at the lows. And that's where I would look for resistance. Yeah, right around 29. I think so, yeah. I think if you look at it from a trends perspective, I think you should really zoom out, and I've got a bullish div all day on Rivian. So I think this is one to run, and I think people shouldn't ignore it. Gallo, we talked about this. We were talking about the breakdown. It's already moving towards that. This could very easily, I want to show you guys what this could do, because I don't want people getting hyped into the move that could potentially happen here. And I'm going to show you what that is. Let's get rid of all this stuff. So the move that could happen here is price is broken down. It reverses back up here and then comes back down. So don't get pulled into that, because this is definitely a doji here, and that doji could very easily push price back up the reverse, and then people are going to think it's going to go back all the way back up the all-time high, and then it reverses lower, right, forming lower highs back down. And this is how they trap people, right? They trap people by creating this big amount of liquidity and then creating these lower highs, and then people continually think every time price goes up that it's going to come back up for those highs, and it just never comes back to those zones. Filecoin, Valcoin looks like it's in a dangerous spot to be trying to buy, personally. Again, so let's kind of erase all this. So if we just take Valcoin at first glance, we got to pin it. And typically how price comes into the pin it is how price comes out. So you got a downtrend, and then you would get another downtrend. So I would be really careful with this one. There's good potential this thing could reverse. And usually the downtrend is based off of the overall move. So let me kind of point that out for you real quick. So basically from like the drop here to here would be your drop over here. So probably down to like into this liquidity over here. Now that would bring this down pretty immensely, right? 3x position down from where it sits right now, as far as price goes. Usually a pennant is a continuation, just for those of you who don't know. So that's what I'm looking at for that one. It looks to me like AR is wanting to roll back over again. So we gotta move, and just rejection after rejection. We got lower lows, lower highs. Like this is basically just a channel move here. So like really you could take a channel like this and just put it on it like this and follow it all the way down until it reverses somewhere. This is the way I would take this. So nothing to really watch here. I would like to see it turn into a falling wedge. That would be ideal to me, which means not coming back up and retesting highs, but starting to form lower highs, right? But continuing to hold the bottom trend. So like if it starts moving like this, right? Now it's kind of playing here to the lows and it's playing a falling wedge, and now it's looking to break out. So it looks something like this. That's what I'd like to see here. I do like a falling channel too. A falling channel is also bullish, but it doesn't appear that it wants to break out here because you got a nice round top, aka distribution zone, which means you'll probably be revisiting the lows before you get a breakout, even on a falling channel, right? Falling channel is also bullish. So what you should wait for here is you should wait for price to break down, hit these lows, and play the low, right? Because this can also be a breakout move, just a falling channel. US dollar peso. This is the Filipino peso. Looks good. All right, so US dollar looks strong against the peso. Kind of holding position here. It's not too strong though. So that's your monthly candle. That was a good buy up right there. If they can continue to consolidate here, they can definitely move against the Filipino peso. So something to continue to watch here. Amazon, again, we talk about macro highs, guys. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4 macro highs to the low. Nothing too crazy here, just waiting for price to kind of play itself out. Again, I think Amazon is a good buy in this area. Why? Because it's a long-term consolidation area. I would like to see Amazon hit these low lows around $71, because that would confirm the bottom of this move, right? Because you got a good amount of consolidated liquidity right here that I think that they might want to come back for and touch, at least. So that's a good area to be looking to have positions actively open in. And then hope that they get filled based on previous price, right? Not hopium, not guessing, based on previous price. LMT, Lockheed Martin, again, just playing the high consolidation area. I'm looking for Lockheed to continue, right? It broke above the highs. It's consolidating above the highs. I think Lockheed's going to continue to the upside. PepsiCo, breaking back above the highs. We get a monthly open up here. We're going to continue to consolidate up here at that point. And then I think this one will also break higher. Again, both war plays. It makes sense for them to be playing out well right now. especially in the current environment, and wars are currently going on. So again, Lucid down here hit that $8 zone, something I'm continuing to watch. I like Lucid here. Why do I like Lucid here? Consolidation, right? We continue to consolidate here. That's going to be a really good zone to be looking to accumulate Lucid in. All right, let's move into total crypto market cap. As we can see, last time we looked at this, we were basically hugging this line. We've already dropped down pretty immensely here, right? We're back down to that 1 trillion mark. We moved all the way up to almost 1.1 trillion here. Actually, we did hit 1.1 trillion. Now keep this in mind. All right. When you guys are getting bullish, we went from 1.1 trillion and we are slowly bleeding back down. We are now at 1.03 trillion. That means 70 billion have left the market. All right. 70 billion has left the market. So be careful. We break back below that 1 trillion mark again, we're probably going to come back down and revisit these lows. All right. So just something to really, really keep in mind. Your first stop obviously is going to be the higher consolidation area / support sitting around 865. If we break down again below that 1 trillion. And then if we break and violate that area, we'll come back down to 735. Dow Jones holding perfectly on support, right? Looks great. Looks like it's consolidated here. Again, I was under the assumption based on the mood that was playing out here originally that this would be a breakdown move. It looks like it's holding. I won't even deny that, right? It looks like it's holding structure. We kind of fell, popped back up, holding the higher low down. So because we're holding the higher low, it's something to keep an eye on. Doesn't mean that price is gonna take off because we don't have higher highs yet. And you're probably like, well, yeah, we do. We have higher high from here to here. No, when I say higher highs, we have to actually break out of the zone. So that would be kind of what I'd be looking for Dow to be super bull on it. But overall, right now we're just kind of consolidating basic liquidity highs right here. And really, this is the premium pricing zone still. To me, what this looks like on a bigger time frame is this looks like a big M forming. So being really cautious with this, right? You got to think the Dow over here took a hit all the way down to what? $18,387. And it went all the way up to $36,000. Keep that in mind. In 1 year. That's 2020 to 2021. This was the Dow previously. Does that make any logical sense? Zero to me. I'll tell you that. Zero to me. So, like, to say Dow can't come lower, I think that people would be completely delusional. EOS, again, continuing to trend up. I like it. Again, I'm still watching the bull div here. I think the bull div ends up playing out at the end of the day. And we have a nice pump consolidation. And I think we'll just continue to stair step high. I like price action that moves like this, guys. Like, I don't like big pumps because the more we just kind of do this, the less eyes that are on it. And then eventually we're all the way up here before people even realize what's going on. So keep that in mind. This is the price action you want to see. Just building. I'm not trying to get you guys overly bullish on the US. I do have a position in it, but I'm continuing to hold based on what I think will play out here. Volatility, still not broken. So don't get played here. Don't get played by narratives and all the BS. DXY over here. Or sorry, EDU. We'll get to DXY. Looks like it's consolidating for right now. I think they're going to continue trending up. I really think this thing's going to continue trending up. This New Oriental Education Technology Group, Chinese stock. You can get this on New York Exchange, so on and so forth. Cadena. Again, this is a consolidation zone. I think this is a round bottom for Cadena. Like this whole area is a buy. All the way from 138 to 84 cents. You're probably like, well, what if it goes lower? Look, again, what are you seeing? Anybody?
Support.
Support. Are we really
Yes.
high right now in Cadena's price?
No, we're just rounding out.
We're rounding out.
And it hasn't seen the hype,
Hasn't seen the hype.
so you're not overpaying.
Correct. You are not overpaying for this one. So,
And there's nothing really to dump on you with either.
yep, nothing to dump on you. This is what I mean by you guys need to look at stuff like this. Stop following trends. Get ahead of them. This is a layer one in the blockchain space. Supposed to be an improvement on Ethereum and their proof of work. So keep it in your back pocket, understand it exists, and that it is in a buy zone. Don't ask me a week, a month, 3 months, 6 months if it starts doing this stuff. Apple. I think this is one big, huge distribution zone. Just like look at it, just holding and just like consolidating the high here. It's not going up, guys. Like it's got the high move here and the low move here. That's something I look for specifically with every chart when I'm looking for a distribution zone forming, right? We got the rejection right there beautifully. I think this is going to roll over and fall deep at some point. Apple's not looking good. Plus, their earnings suck. For these who don't know. QQQ. Well, not what I mean more is their dividends. Their dividends suck. Sorry. Their earnings are great. Dividends suck.
Yeah, modem updates suck too.
Yeah, the earnings recently, yeah, they were pretty bad.
No, just on their modems. The updates, they suck. One keeps dropping out.
QQQ still sitting at the highs, way overpriced. I think we got this consolidation zone. So something we talked about the other day. Did I discuss? I think I told you guys about the stair stepping, right? I'm seeing this in a lot of stocks. They're just kind of moving into the stair stepping move, and typically the stair stepping moves can continue to stair step, right? So they'll just move sideways, drop at some point, and then start moving sideways again. And Google's doing it. QQQ's doing it. I believe Ethereum's doing it. There's a lot of things that are doing the same move where they consolidate high, consolidate low zone, and they just don't want to move out of it. Let me find that Ethereum real quick. See, here's Google. Look, drop, stair step. Now, I pointed out all the stairs on Google. You had the high stair, second stair, drop, third stair, right? And really, they could see another drop into another stair move, right? This consolidation, drop, consolidation, drop. That's what you're seeing with these stocks. They soak up the liquidity, drop into the next zone. Soak up the liquidity, drop into the next zone. Soak up the liquidity, drop into the next zone. People are overly bullish. Tell me, has it broken this high? Anybody? From a candlestick body position, no. It has not at all. It literally got a lower high, even though liquidity pushed all the way up to the previous stair step. Look, if this stair cannot be violent, look at liquidity right here. It stopped dead on. Look at this. Dead on price here. Look. And what did it do? It came all the way back into its stair. That is a red flag, guys. That is a bad sign. That's telling you that price is not accepting higher highs. It's telling you that people are bidding too high and the market maker is like, nope, stay in your zone. Why? Why does this happen? Does anybody know why this happens?
No buyers.
Buyers is one thing. I think it goes a little deeper than that, though.
I think people are uncertain to Google's future with so many speculative alternatives going around.
Manipulation.
We could call it manipulation. We can call it that.
Exhaustion.
Mm, exhaustion, no. No, I won't say it's exhaustion. So what this is the market is continuing to price in what they think the Fed's going to do. So if the market thinks the Fed is going to continue to crush markets, is the market going to let price go up?
No.
No. They're going to keep price allocated to the zone that is appropriate to the current rates that are being priced in. This is the zone. That's what a stair step does. A stair step says, okay, we're dovish. Oh, we're semi-dovish. Oh, we're not so dovish. And they will continue to do this until all of what the Fed is going to do in the future is priced in. Which means if they see more rates coming in the future, do you think the stair holds?
No, it's going to step down.
They're going to step down again into the next liquidity zone. Because they are trying to price it in. That's all this is at the end of the day. This is priced in at 3. This is priced in at 5. And then they think he'll go to 6. They're going to come down again. Maybe even 5.5, because I don't think the market's pricing in 5.5 right now. This is how liquidity moves. So think of it like this. The market thinks here that it'll be 4.75, and the market thinks here it'll be 5. So where are we at right now on the chart? We're towards the 5, because that's where the market thinks that interest rates are going. And they will continue to hold price in these zones until the Fed basically releases that pressure on the market. This is to me is like what you would consider a smart market, right? The market is being intelligent here. They're not overhyping the S&P. Oh, look at that. What's going on? Because of a bunch of speculation. The blue chip stocks are telling us, hey, higher for longer.
It's like it's accepting that it can go lower. It dropped all the way down, and everyone's like, "Oh, buy that up," and then it's back down and up, and they're just slowly accepting. Okay, stock might be cheaper at the moment. That might be the value.
Yep, exactly. They are accepting what's going on, and they're understanding what's going on. The market is pricing in accordingly, guys. But you got to look at the stocks that are doing it. Stop looking at the hype and BS. Google is pricing in hard. They are for sure pricing it in. And I still think there's a good potential we'll see another leg down for Google. And why do I think that? Because I think the Fed's going to over-tighten. That's why. I really, really think the Fed's going to over-tighten. And why would I think that? Is that based on an assumption?
Because Jerome Powell said that's what he was going to do.
Well, that's one thing. But has the Fed
just going to keep? He said he was just going to keep going until something broke. Then he just fix it.
Yeah. He did say that, and a lot of people ignored that. Has the Fed historically ever not over tightened?
Didn't they get it right like once?
A lot of people like to use the 2019 narrative. Oh, they did this and they did that. No, what they did is they pumped liquidity back into the markets in 2019.
But all their indicators are lagging, so it's almost impossible to not over tighten.
Every time we've gone into an inflationary environment like right now, which was not 2019, it was 2008, 2020, the 70s. Those were the same that are comparable to right now. The Fed is always over tightened. If you guys find different somewheres in history that compares to how inflation is right now, I am more than willing to look at the data. But I haven't found anywhere where they have. And that's why when people go to the soft landing thesis, it's like, as much as I would love Goldilocks, and lilies and nice green pastures to just run through and run my hands through the wheat fields. I don't see that coming.
I love it.
And that's just me being realistic because I don't trust the government. I don't trust the Fed. And all bulls all of a sudden like, oh, don't listen to the Fed. He's just BSing, yada yada. And then as soon as the Fed's on their side, being dovish, they're like, oh yeah, the Fed already said that everything looks great. Just listen to the Fed. They flipped immediately. But they choose what they want to hear, right? Versus what is actually going on. I just want to throw that out there. I want you guys to be optimistic but cautious, right? That's what we want to be. We want to be optimistic but cautious because there is good potential we could see another leg down. And watch Google. Google will signal it 100%. All right, let's move back into the charts. Amazon's another one I've been watching. I think Amazon's going to come all the way back down to the lows, $84.
So,
I'd like
Will,
to see
can I
it
just
lower.
ask a question back
Yep.
on Google? So when you said that you believe Google might signal it, is that just you think that they might be a leading mover in the
I think they are,
tech
yes.
stocks? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
If you look at Google, they are very structured. Very structured. Look at them. Consolidation high, beautiful. Continued retest. You can see them getting lower, right? Before they break. Consolidation high, retest. Oh, didn't mean to do that. And then what do you see? Red candle, break, and then just go. Consolidation, retest high and low. And now we have to see. Because here's the thing. This candle wick, this one right here, makes me highly skeptical that we're not going to break down. Because bulls could have added to this position and pushed this out of the zone to the next stair. But what did the market choose to do here?
I rejected it hard.
It chose to reject it, which means the market doesn't see anywhere's up here that they will be able to gain liquidity.
Lack of confidence.
It's a lack of confidence in the market. Watch Google. Just watch them. And it took me a little while. Keep in mind, guys, I study these charts a lot. Okay. I'm looking for patterns that make sense. And when you see this pattern, I like to call it a stair-stepping pattern, where it's price sideways, drop, price sideways, drop, price sideways. This to me is not the elevator down, right? This is a stair step down. This means that this is a well-structured sell-off where they are pricing in interest rates to follow accordingly to what the Fed is doing. That's what this is telling me. So that's why I'm watching this one specifically. It's not just like, oh, just sell all the way down and V back up and come back down. It's not straight volatility. It is a move, drop, follow the Fed. Move, drop, follow the Fed. Move. Now the next move, especially with this right here, makes me think that they're going to come over and they're going to drop at some point again. Now, do I know precisely how deep that is? No, because there's also a liquidity zone here, right? They could play higher. But typically, if you look through here, there's a gap between the stairs, right? A nice gap. So we could easily, if that's the case, trade here where this liquidity is, as opposed to that lower one that I have there. And that would fulfill the gap, and that would bring us back to the next liquidity zone. And if we trade down here for Google, I can see a lot of stocks that are over leveraged, overhyped, aka Tesla and lots of other ones, trading a lot lower lows. Because they aren't as structured as Google is right now, as far as chart patterns. They're literally all over the place. Very erratic, very emotional price action. And those type of stocks. All right, moving. Okay, so we discussed crypto market cap, discussed Dow Jones, discussed the US, discussed VIX, still bullish. Did not discuss DDU, discuss KDA, Apple, QQQs, Algo. Nothing in Algo. Hasn't it? Man, this thing just doesn't move. It's literally just sitting here. 25 cents. Starbucks. We talked about this. I'm looking for that right shoulder on Starbucks, looking for that drop. Gold. I told you guys this before. I think they're already starting to move down. And this is engulfing. If it stays like this, gold's gonna break down. And it's gonna break down hard. And if gold breaks down hard, I can't see a lot of people trying to allocate into Bitcoin and other things when gold's breaking out. I just can't. ICP, massive run up. I just been kind of in it from the lows, ran up to $8, coming back down, kind of holding this lower position, needs to stay above here if it's going to remain bullish. Breaks that zone, it's going to come back down to the lows, possibly lower, right? So definitely watch that price. It's sitting around 515. Still great buy there, by the way. Still great buy there. Litecoin. I think Litecoin wants to make one more push, right? Might happen next month or whatever. One more push to the high here. I got sitting around 138. That'll be the retest of the middle right here, just like what it did over here. And if this is the low for Litecoin, then Litecoin will roll back over and do this W just like it did previously, and probably hit low, come back up, and then probably trying to hit high there later on, right? And go into 2024, 2025. Not worth buying, really. Litecoin just doesn't have the price action other things have. And this is a rising wedge to me on the overall trend. So I'm very bearish on this one. I'm not too interested. Woo, hard rejection on the high. Should consolidate at the lows around 15 cents again. It just got a good amount of consolidation here. It's kind of at the high zone here. Looks like it wants to come back. So we'll see what happens there. Block over here, still consolidating the lows here. I think block's a great buy in here. Again, ETF. Coming over here to DXY. DXY is still bullish, but it looks like it wants to pull back from the highs here. Came up for the breakout, rejected, so it could trim back down before it ends up moving again, right? So be careful here with DXY. I think there's potential, and if DXY trends down, we could continue to see that distribution play out on all these assets right now that I think is happening. I don't think they'll break out. I think they'll just continue to distribute where they are. So DXY could break down and then break out after that, right? So pull back before move out. But this is too bullish for me on a dollar to deny and try and say the dollar is going to break down. Dollar did something very similar right here. Came up, hit back, pulled back, broke out, came back, retest the high right here. Look at that. And then moved again, right? So we could very well see that same move kind of play out over on the right side, pull out, and then move back up and shift. And if it breaks back up into here, I think it's going to go right to a higher high. FTM, just like we talked about, beautiful rollover here, beautiful rollover. And this was while it was still green over here, guys, when we're talking about it. It's already started to roll over. I think it's going to break structure here. And then once it breaks here, they'll consolidate a little bit at the lows here for a little bit, right? Make people think they're going to break out and they're going to come back down. And if they break this neck, this will be a head and shoulder move. And this thing is going to come deep if that happens. That'll be the biggest soaking of liquidity I've seen yet. Be really cautious with this one. ADA, heavy rejection at the high. Solid resistance here. They may play the highs here for a bit, but I think they're going to ultimately come back down. Curate, massive move on Cure, right? Big. All the way up to 8 cents. I got it down here. 3 to 5. So we'll see how this plays out. I think Curate's got a big pullback coming, probably down to like 5 cents at minimum. And then probably a shift out from there. We'll see how this plays out. Looks way overbought on stochastics. Not too bad right here on the RSI. I think a lot of people are going to miss this thing. Low market cap on that, by the way. So we talked about this. I said buy at the low here at 10 cents. Samsung's already pulling back. We'll see how this plays out, but that's where I would buy. So it's probably right around 56,500. That's in Korean dollars though. So I don't know what that be in American. I had to look it up, a US dollar. Velas still at the lows here. was expected. Still looks very overbought. Could violate this and go deeper. Really, to be honest with you, the way it looks on the stochastic. My thesis on Velas is that we're rounding out really nicely. I think it does come down lower ultimately, and I think this thing will round out later. AVAX, hard rejection. Look at that, beautiful. Called it perfectly. Called it perfectly. Look at that. Hard rejection, round top. I think this thing's gonna roll down, come back down, revisit the lows. I think it holds here and consolidates, but if it doesn't, it'll violate, come back down, roll back up, and then break. Right, break for the bottom here. A lot of liquidity ran in. That liquidity is now being taken out. BTC ETH. So, been sitting here. BTC has been bleeding against ETH pretty hard. But if you look at BTC from a chart standpoint, that's a solid support right there, right? Really, BTC is at the lows here. And I'm looking for BTC to move against ETH. That doesn't mean that price has to move up. It just means ETH could just bleed, right? So if we're looking at that, that's really, really, really bad for altcoins. So I'll be really cautious with altcoins if that's end up playing out. And that should cover all the charts for this evening. We're gonna do some more TA this Saturday, guys. I'll teach you guys some more TA and stuff like that. I just want to kind of roll through the charts, give you guys some price and stuff like that, and show you guys kind of what I see going on. Some things I'm interested in buying and some things I'm watching and not currently buying, and kind of where you guys should be looking to position yourself. Again, be diverse with your positions. Like, go back to the beginning of the video if you guys need to understand that. And try to be more diverse with how you're positioning yourself in the market. I mean, I do some scouts, but I don't like to call scouts as much because there's a lot of new people, not new people to the group, but like new people to trading. And you start introducing that to people, then they start getting wrecked. Especially when you introduce it to them right off the bat. We will be getting into scouts, I think, later on as we're kind of moving along. And we'll be discussing kind of how to get in and out of scouts properly. A lot of you guys are also, I think, members of Traders Reality and stuff like that too. He does a lot of scalp trading on there. That's another good channel you guys can check out to try and figure out some good ways to scalp. He has some free indicators on there and stuff like that. I'm not a big person on indicators, to be real with you. I think you could do everything without indicators. So that's just my perspective on it. But yeah. All right, any questions? Sorry, it's kind of late tonight. I had a lot of work I had to do this evening, so.
Whose group is that? The Traders Reality.
I think it's a YouTuber. But I'll put it
Oh,
up.
so nobody that was from
No,
FS?
no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the guy right here. Oh, hold on.
Oh yeah, I know him.
A lot of people don't like him because he's calling for AKBTC. You know, it is what it is at the end of the day. But he's got a good system set up. He can teach you guys really well how to scalp and stuff like that if you guys are interested in that. That's something I will be getting into later on from my own perspective. I'll show you guys my perspective of scalping. But he has a lot of good stuff on there. I don't feel that you guys should ever pay for information. There's plenty of free information out there, guys. So, and I'll be providing you guys plenty of free information too. So, like, don't pay for courses, don't pay for this or that. Like, that might be bad to say for some people that utilize it as a money stream, but it's just my perspective, right? Try to save your money. Try to save your money. All right. Any questions?
No, thank you, Will. The last these recent Q&As have been just great. Learned heaps. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I was kind of mind fogged tonight too, guys. Sorry, I was trying to get through it. I don't know if I did a good job or not. I'm just a little bit tired, but
Pretty switched on for Foggy, I reckon.
yeah, just trying to get through it for sure.
Yeah, well done, Will. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, we will chat again, guys, on Saturday. Until then, I'll be in the Discord. I'll be chatting with you guys, and we'll definitely be discussing things moving forward. If I see any good plays, I'll definitely throw them in a trading chat too. If you guys are interested, go into the trading chat. Lots of good scalps going on there too. If you guys are pay attention there. Devin's in there always making trades all day, every day. The guy never sleeps. So that's a good person to be kind of watching too. Nobody in my Discord should reach out to you for monetary anything. Okay. If anybody reaches out to you, hey, yada yada, for this much money, it's bullshit. Okay. I want you guys to understand that. Do not pay anybody anything if they try and DM you and tell you they're me or somebody else in the Discord or yada yada. They are not. All right.
Thanks, Will.
No
Thank
problem.
you. Look forward to
Thank you, sir.
I'll see you guys on Saturday.
it. Bye.